Hello, everyone. My guest today is Andy Cloke. He's a freelance software developer building profitable tools on the side. In 2020, he bootstrapped and eventually sold a TikTok marketing platform called Influence Grid. He's now working on Fetcher.io, a low-code Airtable app that lets you run API requests. He's bootstrapped to $10,000 in ARR over the past 4 months. Andy, you ready to take us to the top?
Yeah, Nathan, happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm thrilled you're here. I mean, you are, if I could spend all my days and all my time with one kind of founder, it would be the one that's always launching side projects, growing from nothing to $100,000 in ARR and then selling it and then moving on to the next idea. So you're my people. I'm excited you're here.
Thanks.
All right. So let's work backwards. So you're working on Data Fetcher today. It sounds like you started on this idea 4 months ago.
Yeah, that's right. So I launched in November, started a couple of months before that.
Okay. And what were you building for your own need here? How do you think about what new side ideas you work on?
So I've got a kind of framework that I kind of follow that's basically taking like an existing tool or an existing kind of profitable business and then basically taking that and then applying it to like a growing platform. So both the projects I've done that I've actually made some money from, the first one was basically taking tools that work for Instagram and building them for TikTok. And then this one, I got the original inspiration from like a Google Sheets add-on, and we're basically just applying the same kind of tool to Airtable and making it kind of more kind of Airtable native. So that's kind of the ideation process, and just like getting into like a growing kind of platform and riding the wave basically.
And it's so much more refreshing talking to you than like a YC founder who will come on and say, we're changing the world. We invented this new way to do something. And you're saying, look, I just look at what worked on Google Sheets and now I'm going to do it for the Airtable app store.
Yeah, I think that's probably the lazy developer mindset rather than trying to be Jesus.
I think it's smart, right? I think if you're optimizing for a life where you've got freedom, flexibility, you don't care about raising VC, this is a great model. So kudos to you for just calling it what it is, which is looking at what works and copying it with a new angle. So what was there a particular Google Sheets add-on that inspired you that you're now replicating for Airtable?
So there was one that's called API Connector, and I saw their product hunt page. It's made by a lady called Anna, who's now kind of a contact of mine. So she basically built this add-on. I think she's got like 150,000 users. She's got some massive companies using it and stuff. So I saw that, and then I had actually run into the problem on Airtable. So I was an Airtable user. I tried to pull in like financial data and found it was a really like complicated process. So when I saw her Google Sheets add-on, the penny just dropped, and I thought, why not build this for Airtable? But when I launched my product on Product Hunt, I gave her a shout out. I said, full credit. This is where I got the full idea from. And I've not just kind of copied it screen for screen. I've actually built other features that she's then copied into her app and stuff. So we've actually got a really nice working relationship now where we're both kind of building tangentially for different platforms and helping each other out.
There's an important lesson there, though, which is, it's not always about waiting years and years until you come up with a perfect brand new idea no one's done before, right? Very, very rarely is that the case. What's more frequent is you copy something that works and then add your own spin to it. So it's nice to see you doing that and crediting the original creator. That's the right way to do it. Talk to me today, dumb it down for me, right? So I use Airtable a ton. If we have listeners right now who are not developers, how could they use your tool?
Yeah, sure. The high level, so an API is just the way that kind of websites send structured data to each other. So for example, if you have subscriptions in Stripe make available an API for you to get a list of those subscriptions. What my tool lets you do is very similar to something like Zapier or Integromat, is set up those API calls. So you kind of put in the URL and you can configure things like headers and stuff like that, which is getting a bit technical, but basically just lets Stripe know that you're who you say you are. So it's kind of authorization. You can set all that up in Data Fetcher, my app, and then you can click run, and you're going to pull in or post out any kind of data that you want to, depending on what API you're hitting. That's the kind of the high level way that it works. And then within that, you can do kind of stuff like pagination, so fetching multiple pages of data, referencing your table or base in your request. So for example, if you had a list of stock tickers, you might want to call the price, fetch the price for each of those stock tickers.
Interesting. So my current way of solving this, when I want to take everyone that is paying for Latka magazine, that is via Stripe, right? So they pay $29 a month, and I will just export from Stripe under subscriptions in an Excel file then reformat and re-upload as a new worksheet on Airtable as a CSV, you're basically saying your tool saved me those 2 steps. I can just use it in Airtable and do it all via API request.
Yeah, exactly. I've actually got a YouTube video on exactly that use case. So pulling in all your Stripe subscriptions, pulling them in as like currency fields, and then working out maybe your monthly revenue or something based on that. Or you could do it for payments. You can set that to schedule. So if you upgrade to a paid account, you can then say run this every Monday at 9 o'clock or whatever, or every hour, depending on how frequently you want to pull in that data.
I love the specificity of the use case and that the use case. It's not like an accident. Like you built a YouTube video for it. You're clearly identified like a mousetrap here, high utility value. Let's say I start using you for that exact purpose. When will I see a paywall? What do I hit?
So it's a freemium model. So you can get 100 requests a month for free. And then beyond that, it kind of scales with usage. And that has been quite a nice usage metric to kind of, track people and drive them through the upgrades. And then the only other thing that's paid is scheduled requests. So if you want to just manually click run and fetch that data, that's completely free. If you then want to say, as I said, like run this every Monday and schedule it, that's a paid feature as well.
I love this. Okay. And how many customers are paying today?
So I'm on 51 customers.
51 customers. That's great. And what are they paying on average per month?
So on average, it's $25.
You have your metrics board up. You listen to the podcast. You're expecting all these questions, aren't you?
Yeah, 100%. I've got Chart Mogul right in front.
All right. So 51 customers, $25 a month. You're doing about what, $1,275 a month, something like that?
Yeah, just over that, but yeah, pretty much.
And get personal with me here for a second, Andy. What's that mean for you as a founder right now? Your current living situation? Have you minimized expenses? Like, is $1,000 a month meaningful for you?
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's the first time. So in the last month, the growth's just gone a bit crazy. And it's gone from like $400 to like $1,300, and suddenly it's like, oh, this is actually paying my rent. Like I could in theory take this out as dividends. I'm not bothering because I'm already freelancing and stuff with software. But it's suddenly like makes a tangible difference to my life.
What has to, can I ask you, when you ignore all your SaaS revenue, your freelance revenue, like how much will you do in a month in freelance revenue usually?
Probably around £8,000. So maybe like $15,000.
Yep. And how do you get that business? Do you use like Upwork and TopTal, these things, or it's individual clients that you know personally?
So it's a mixture of like contracting where you're on like 3-month contracts on a day rate. And then I'm also doing some freelance Airtable app development, kind of like fixed price stuff as well. So yeah, some.
And what has to happen with this SaaS tool in terms of a revenue target where you don't need to do the freelance stuff anymore? Do you just want to, if it gets up to 10, 15 grand a month recurring revenue, then you stop freelance and you go all in on this tool?
Exactly that. I think I'd probably do it sooner, maybe if it gets to like 5,000 or 6,000 a month and I've got savings and it's growing and I can work out, in 3 months, this is going to be on 10,000 or something, and I just live off savings for a few months. So yeah, between 5 and 10, I think is the sweet spot to go.
Wait, so like and you bootstrap this, right? You haven't raised?
Yeah.
And is it just you right now?
Yeah.
Amazing. The one person, $1,000 a month side project with potential to be much bigger. So let's brainstorm together real quick. What's the next step? How do you take this from, $1,000 a month, $2,000 a month to up to 10, 15 grand a month? What has to happen?
So I think the hardest bit is working out the target customer. So with Airtable, because it's a completely horizontal tool, the use cases are just all over the place. And even for my tool, I mentioned the Stripe one, that's quite a nice self-contained one. But like the other stuff I'm seeing is like when I try and do custom development, it's people that run like vacation homes or garages, or like it's just like all over the place. So the hardest bit is just trying to find like the repeatable target customers that I can then do content marketing towards. So a recent one I did is crypto, and that's working quite nicely, and just went through like 6 different crypto APIs and made a YouTube video on each of them. I think the next one is probably like marketing. So going after people doing like Facebook ads reporting and like AdWords and stuff like that. So it's basically just speaking to customers, looking at the analytics and people's usage, and then like tailoring content marketing towards them. Until a month ago, I was doing like all development. So I've only just switched into kind of marketing mode and like pumping out YouTube videos and stuff. And so far the signs are pretty good. Like I did the crypto ones and I've had like a few crypto people like convert and actually start paying. So I think it's just a case of doing that like vertical by vertical and going through customer personas.
How many people that hit the 100 requests per month limit, what percent of them convert to paid versus they just stop using it once they hit the limit?
Uh,
Do you
I'm
know?
not sure on that.
It's okay.
I know that overall rate is like 4 to 5%. So of people that just sign up as a user
Yeah.
to customers is like 5%. I haven't got any more granular than that in terms of like what's prompting the upgrade or what points the upgrade.
Do you know currently how many customers are on the platform? Sorry, users that are not paying that are on the platform that are like very close to hitting 100 like API calls per month, hitting that limit?
And again, I haven't got that
Yeah,
into those analytics, but
that's
I have
okay.
thought about maybe trying to do like prompts or something like that. So if someone hits 100, doesn't come back to it like ever or for a week or something, then just sending an email out saying maybe just like here's 20% off or here's like a limited time offer or something. Just trying to get a bit more value from those people.
Or pull a Dropbox and say invite 3 of your friends in, and we'll unlock 100 extra credits for you per month.
Yeah, that some sort of referral thing. 100%.
Yeah. This is really interesting. I mean, some of the largest. I mean, you should study. Have you studied the Supermetrics interview that I did? You would love that one.
Yeah, I've listened to that like 3 times.
Okay, amazing. I was about to say, like, you remind me so much of that crew, like in their very early days, because they were so focused on a Google Sheet and Excel sort of add-on VBA code. They rode that for a while, and before you know it, it's a $40 million a year business with a $450 million valuation. I see so many of those same traits in sort of what you're building. So this is really interesting. How do one of the things that can trip folks up in your shoes is your API tool could be used for so many things. It's hard to figure out what to say no to. So how are you figuring out what use cases to say no to?
Yeah, it's a good question. At the moment, when I basically, some people, will email saying, can I use it for this? And I'll go and have a look at the API docs, and it would it's just going to require like 5 features if it's even possible at all. And like, there's a lot of like very dated APIs that just work in like really peculiar ways. And often those, it's just a case of being like, telling them to use like another use case, another way, or like, just basically like, unless a feature request comes up twice, I'm not really building it. I think that's kind of my rule of thumb at the moment.
There you go. Super easy, straight and to the point. This is great. Let's wrap up here, Andy, with the famous 5. Number 1, favorite business book.
Blue Ocean Strategy.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying?
Tyler King from Less Annoying CRM.
Number 3, what's your favorite online tool for building data fetcher?
It's probably Heroku.
I was gonna say you can't say Airtable.
Yeah, I knew that.
Number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
7.
7. Okay. And what's your situation? Married, single, kiddos?
I am in a relationship.
Okay. No kids?
No kids.
All right. And how old are you?
How old am I?
Yep.
27.
27. Last question. What's something you wish you knew when you were 20?
I just learned marketing. I spent way too long just head down coding and didn't realize until I started doing my first projects how much there is to learn in the marketing world.
Datafetcher.io. It's a tool that you can use inside of your Airtable to quickly use API requests to pull in things like Stripe data. He does freelance dev work on the side doing 10, 15 grand a month and said, let me build this tool. The tool now has 51 paying customers. It's pure SaaS doing $1,200 a month in revenue, all bootstrapped, one-man team. He says if it gets 5, 6, 7 grand a month in revenue, he'll go all in full time. I'm going to be a user. I hope you guys do too. Andy, thanks for taking us.
One more thing before you go. We have a brand new show every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central. It's called Shark Tank for SaaS. We call it Deal or Bust. One founder comes on, 3 hungry buyers, they try and do a deal live, and the founder shares back-end dashboards, their expenses, their revenue, ARPU, CAC, LTV, you name it, they share it. And the buyers try and make a deal live. It is fun to watch every Thursday, 1 p.m. Central. Additionally, remember, these recorded founder interviews go live. We release them here on YouTube every day at 2 p.m. Central. To make sure you don't miss any of that, make sure you click the subscribe button below here on YouTube, the big red button, and then click the little bell notification to make sure you get notifications when we do go live. I wouldn't want you to miss breaking news in the SaaS world, whether it's an acquisition, a big fundraise, a big big sale, a big profitability statement, or something else. I don't want you to miss it. Additionally, if you want to take this conversation deeper and further, we have by far the largest private Slack community for B2B SaaS founders. You want to get in there. We've probably talked about your tool if you're running a company, or your firm if you're investing. You can go in there and quickly search and see what people are saying. Sign up for that at nathanlatka.com/Slack. In the meantime, I'm hanging out with you here on YouTube. I'll be in the comments for the next 30 minutes. Feel free to let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you enjoyed it, click the thumbs up. We get a lot of haters that are mad at how aggressive I am on these shows, but I do it so that we can all learn. We have to counter those people. We got to push them away. Click the thumbs up below to counter them, and know that I appreciate your guys' support. All right, I'll be in the comments. See ya.
The top.
Thanks, Nathan. Cheers.